Sadguru, I heard you saying that it doesn't matter where you are, I can still be with you. I mean, you can still access my energies. And these days, you're giving many Mahasatsangs, and you're available in India and South India especially. So, I mean, I sometimes get confused, like, because you're available so closely, if I'm not able to make it, like, I can't convince myself, I can't hold back. And if I go everywhere, like, I have a problem with my family, so.
Family means what? Parents or husband?
No, only parents.
Parents only, that's okay.
But you tell me, I mean, like, you make it happen for people, to make it even more conducive, so that they can access you if they're in your presence. I feel it when I come here, but in case if we are not able to make it till here, will you still be available for us?
No, I thought you were consulting me how to solve the family problem. Saying, there are two aspects to this. For your own spiritual growth, if you generate substantial receptivity within you, if you become receptive, geographical distance is not an issue at all, at all. It is not even an issue. But for you to become receptive, some work is needed. Does it take years? That's not the point. Time is not even the question. The question is the thing about how long does it take to open the window? It depends how long you will take to open the window. Is it locked? No. Is it locked? If it is locked, it's only from inside, it's locked. From outside, it is not locked. So how long will you take is a question that you have to ask for yourself. So if your doors are open, then geographical space is not an issue. But now this question is coming from a thing that you're unable to take steps that you wish to take in your life. If you have children, you have a 20-year project, you have to take care of it. All of you already project on. Now you have a 20-year project, it's not for you to decide halfway down, shall I dump my children and walk away somewhere? That doesn't arise, you have to see through that. If they do well, 20-year project. In case they don't do well, lifelong project. Yes or no? So, for you, don't be a lifelong project for your parents. Show that capability that you will be well wherever you go, you will take care of yourself, you will not do something stupid. Give them that confidence and they will be okay. Yes or no? Yes. Do your parents want you to do well or not do well? They want you to do well. So you just have to create that build that confidence in them that wherever you go, you are well and proper, you are not going to get lost somewhere. If that you create, parents are not an issue. Yes? All right. I'll give you a roadmap. Leave that. Now, I told you, if you are open to it, geographical distance is not a distance. It's not at all a problem. But now you want to go and do something, you don't have to stop yourself. In your life, if you do not do what you care for now, what are you going to do with your life? Every human being should look clearly, not something fanciful today. You must look deep enough and see what is it that you really want to do, and you must do it, isn't it? Otherwise, when are you going to do it? You will sit as an old woman and think, oh, I wish I had done this, I wish I had done that. Till now, every generation of women on this planet have gone like that. You are among the first generation of women who have the opportunity to do what you want to do. You must do it, isn't it? You must do it means not doing silly things. One reason why they kept you under iron hand is because they believe that you will do silly pink things only. If you show that you're going to do responsible things, you're going to create things, you're going to make something out of yourself, why the hell should anybody stop you, isn't it? Isn't it so? So you have to show that, and you must do it. If you don't do it now, when?
How do I become so receptive that it doesn't matter where I am, I can still access you?
Okay. Then you must come for some time and do sadhana. That is not possible. Okay, you do sadhana at home only, let's see how it works. It's fine.
There's this line that I often go back to in the Bible about many being called but few chosen. It seems like a very unfair spiritual process, seems like a very undemocratic process. So the line I think is about many being called but few chosen.
I would say many being called but few choose. Few choose to really come. It's not few are chosen, just a few choose to take the step. People ask me how many steps, just say, I tell them take one step, and there is only one step. You have taken 1,000,000 steps outward, just one step inward, that's all it takes. But you can't take a step inward like this, you have to turn around and take it. But you're not willing to turn around because you made investments on the outside. It is not that if you turn inward, you lose the outside, it is not so. It is an uncalled for fear. And once again, this fear has been nourished by all kinds of misinterpretations of spirituality. People have always told you if you turn spiritual, you will leave everything and go away. If you turn spiritual, your residence has to be in a Himalayan cave along with the rodents. It cannot be in Bombay. Yes. So an inward step has nothing to do with Himalayas or with Mumbai. It's got nothing to do. Mumbai and Himalayas is a choice of residence, that's all. That's an outward thing, it's nothing to do with your spirituality at all. You like to live in the mountains, fine, it's up to you. It has its advantages and disadvantages. You like to live in Mumbai, it has its advantages and disadvantages, isn't it? It is just that for a long time, all those people who wanted to… because there was no process of divorce in India, a lot of people chose spirituality as a way to leave their family, okay? Because there was no honorable way of leaving your family unless you said, I'm going spiritual. So, it's an excuse that a lot of people have used for a very long time. I don't think now you need an excuse, do you?
But I don't find my inside a very nice place.
You have never seen your inside. What you are right now calling as inside is your mind. Your mind is not inside. Your mind is just society's garbage bin, isn't it? Everything in your mind you picked up from outside. Everything that is in your mind is just what you've been exposed to, isn't it so? Isn't it so? So your mind is not inside, your mind is outside.
Processing also. We do some processing of that garbage.
You do some
I
processing.
choose to come and sit and listen to you, but I won't choose to go and
Yes.
come and listen to
See, you have no choice about what you take in. You have choice about what you make use of and what you don't. yes? But even that choice is not really a choice, because that choice is also set up by something else that's gone in earlier. So you really have no great choice about it. Everything, the content of your head and the content of your body, both were collected from outside, isn't it so? You understand what I'm saying? This body you slowly accumulated. How? Just by eating food, isn't it? The content of your mind also you accumulated, just by your exposure and the impressions of what enters you through the 5 agencies. And these 5 agencies that you're using to collect the impressions of life around you, they are not reliable at all. When I say they're not reliable, one thing is, people have always told you, seeing is believing. Seeing is not believing, you know very well, everybody sees what they want to see, isn't it? Does everybody see the same thing? No, everybody sees what they want to see. Everybody does not see what is there. And going more fundamental into the very process of vision itself, even that's not reliable. Why is this so? That even something so fundamental is questionable is, sense organs were opened only to serve survival. They are sufficient instruments of survival. But if you're seeking something beyond survival, now you're talking enlightenment, which is not a survival process. Once you're looking at something beyond survival, then sense organs are no good. You have to have another dimension of perception. So the whole process of spirituality is just about enhancing your perception. Unfortunately, if I use the word spirituality, people think they'll have to do Ram Ram or go sit in the temple or in the church or mosque, or they have to give up their food or they have to give up their clothing or something. It's not about that, it's about enhancing your perception. The only way to know is by enhancing your perception. Everything else is just belief, isn't it? And what you believe is immaterial, because if we work hard enough on you, we can make you believe any damn thing. We know that very well. We just have to work hard enough on you. We can make you believe the weirdest of things in the world if we work upon you right from your childhood, isn't it so? Haven't you seen enough of life around? You know that. So what you believe, whatever it may be, is of no existential value. It may have social value. When you talk about enlightenment, you are not talking about social or personal dimension of life. You're talking about an existential dimension of life. If you have to be open, if you have to know life in an existential way, the only way is to enhance your perception, not by thinking it up, not by philosophizing, not by discussion, not by believing. Only with enhanced perception can you receive life, can you know life. There is no other way to know life. So enlightenment means a heightened level of perception in an ultimate way. If your perception is full on, you receive everything that can be received and know life in its totality. We would call that enlightenment. Now that you asked, how does it feel? Let me try to work around that. Fundamentally, it would… technically, I would say, enlightenment would be like this. If you sit here, your body is here, your mind is out there, what is me is always away from these two things. You can use the body, you can use the mind, but what is you is always a little away from these two things. If you look at life's experience, the biggest limitation upon you right now is your body and your mind. But the only two possibilities in your life are also your body and mind. Yes? The only possibility to exist here is just your body and your mind. At the same time, the biggest limitations upon you are also your body and mind, isn't it? The source of all suffering that any human being may know is his body and mind, isn't it so? Is there any other suffering? All the suffering in the existence, all the human suffering on the planet, the manufacturing unit is in your mind, isn't it so? If you have a little distance from this body and mind, Now, once you have a clear experience that you are free from suffering, once there is no fear of suffering, how would you live here? Every step that you take right now is half a step, because there is a fear of what will happen to me, what will happen to me, what will happen to me. If you carefully observe your life, I would say, for a majority of the population, at least 90% of their life is dedicated to their security. Their life, the steps that they take in their life are not being taken in search of joy or love or freedom or anything. It is always in search of security, isn't it so? Yes? When you're constantly in pursuit of security, what you're doing is you're in pursuit of death. Because life is never secure. It doesn't matter what you do, how much insurance you have, how much bank balance you have, how many thousand people you have around you, tomorrow morning you may just fall dead. Yes? We are not wishing it, but it can happen, isn't it? It's happening to so many people. It can happen to you or me tomorrow morning, isn't it? So as long as you're a physical body, as long as your life and the experience of life is limited only to the physical and the mental, living with fear and being constantly security-oriented is unavoidable. It's inevitable. That's the only way you can live. So if your experience of life transcends the limitations of the physical, now physical and mental are there in your life, but you are never a part of it. You can use it, you can enjoy it, but you never become that. If this freedom is attained, can you imagine how you will live? Unbridled life, isn't it? You can play with life any way you want, but life cannot leave a single scratch upon you. Is that a good description of enlightenment? Is it worthwhile?
It sounds frightening.
Huh?
It sounds frightening also.
Frightening what?
When you're enlightened, does that person become like vapor? Like you begin to see that… No, you begin to see that everything is like Maya and illusion, and everything fades, and people who… if someone you love gets enlightened, would they also see that you're meaningless and…
You should ask people around me whether I love them or my involvement with them is more or less than anything that they've known in their life with anybody. With thousands of people, I'm very deeply, passionately involved. If you're free from suffering, if you're free from the fear of suffering, would you hesitate to involve yourself in life, or would you throw yourself into life? Right now you're hesitating. Right now most of you are made like this. If somebody suddenly smiles at you on the street, you hesitate. Why is this man smiling at me? Because you're afraid what would be the consequence of that. Fundamentally you're afraid tomorrow it may hurt me, tomorrow something else may happen to me out of this, isn't it? So you're constantly hesitating to involve yourself with life simply because of fear of suffering. If fear of suffering is taken away, you could give yourself absolutely to everything around you, isn't it? So this way, would you love more or less, love less? Would you love more or less?
Difficult to imagine, but logically from what you've said, yes.
See, I can only speak logically to you. Do you want me to speak another language which is not logical?
Yes. We don't mind… I have no problem with fuzzy. I have a problem
but
with
still logic.
If the world is
Fuzzy logic.
organized like that, is it organized? If it's illogical, then I don't mind illogical, but is it illogical?
See, logic means to carry on any kind of logic, you need you and me to have a logical speech. When you say enlightenment, you're talking about one. Now, the modern science is a logical development. But today, physics has reached a point where it's no more logical, because the scientists have made too much investment in logic and they're unwilling to admit that they're turning illogical, they're giving the name fuzzy logic to their illogical nonsense. They're afraid to admit that their logical ways have no further scope to pursue science. That's the reason these kind of words have been coined. If you're fuzzy, how can you be logical, tell me? To be logical, you must be like a knife, isn't it so? Yes or no? If you want to be logical, you must be like a knife, cutting everything into pieces. If you're fuzzy, how will you be logical? So fuzzy logic itself is illogic, isn't it so? The very terminology is illogic. So right now, science is beginning to realize that logical way of approaching things is limiting. It cannot take you beyond a certain point. It's a good realization. But they have made so much investment in the logical, they're afraid to turn around and say that or do something else, because then all that you've worked on may become meaningless, like you're saying, it may become Maya. So if it is Maya, what's your problem seeing that? I have not said this, okay, this is not my statement. I am saying, in truth, if suppose person next to you is just a bubble of air, what is your problem in seeing it that way? Because you made an investment, isn't it?
Yeah, actually.
If you're a vested interest, you shouldn't talk about enlightenment. If you're a seeker, wanting to know what is true, only then you should talk about it. Now if you're telling me, even if this person is just a bubble of air, I would like to think he's made of gold, then I'm fine with you. I'm fine with you as a friend, but I won't talk enlightenment to you, because you have no intention like that. You have no intention of seeing life just the way it is. Why are we afraid of seeing life the way it is? You think the way creation is not as good as the way you have imagined it? That's a foolish idea, because you are just a piece of creation. Whatever you are imagining about life, the way creation is must be far more beautiful than the way you are imagining it, isn't it? Because you are just a tiny speck of creation. If you can think up so much, what created you must be much, much more, isn't it so? At least is it logical to see it that way?
And I see my mind as a fractured, fissured place with great capacity for violence. And therefore, extrapolating from that, my inventor could well have been demented. And the whole world, the whole of creation might not be benevolent. And that frightens me. And that's why I want him to be not a bubble of air.
Now, you need to understand this. Only the fundamentals of life were created by whatever you refer to as the creator. The rest of it is your creation. If you have a demented mind, that is definitely your creation. You already told me that no matter what information gets into me, I still have a choice of processing it the way I want. So right now, if it has processed itself to a corner where it's become violent, whose creation is this? Whose creation is this? It's your creation, isn't it? So it's got nothing to do with the creator as such. Whatever the existence right now around you, whatever you have seen, whatever created this, is it far beyond your intelligence and imagination? Yes? Is it well beyond it? Even a single atom, is it well beyond your perception and understanding and intelligence right now? Yes or no? So, such a magnificent creation that you can't even understand a tiny bit of it properly, could it be wrong? This right and wrong is your idea, isn't it? The only right thing to do is to be in tune with the existence and the creation, isn't it? Now, you are not living in the world, you are not a living being, because 95% of the time, you're only thinking about life, you're not living life. Whatever you're thinking, you're beginning to believe is life, unfortunately. What you think is not life. What you think has nothing to do with life. You can think whatever you wish to, but it has nothing to do with life as such.